Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be making a habitat for Prehistoric Kingdom's latest edition, the Paraceretherium. And I must say, what a fantastic job they've done at bringing this animal back to life. Just look at the detail they've put into these animals. It's incredible. And you can see there as I change it back from female to male, the size changes, but we've also got different species. This one reminds me very much of a Java rhinoceros with these plates, these bumpy plates on the animal's skin. Fantastic. And you can see we can switch it back from male to female. The size changes a bit bigger when we change it back to a male. Fantastic. And the last species is the smallest one, and it's about the size of I'd say a large horse, probably. But yes, brilliant. But today, we're probably going to make one for the most well-known, this one, the largest Paraceretherium we have. So, let's start by incubating these animals, and then we can get down to the business of creating an enclosure for them. Okay, so let's begin. So I've chosen a desert map here to begin with, as this is the kind of environment that Paraceretherium would have lived in. And right at the back of this map there are these big cliffs that's already in the game, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to go right back there. I'm not going to build at the front. I'm going to use this as an advantage, something to start me off with, because this game you can literally build anything. It can be quite intimidating at first. You're like, oh god, I don't know where to start, I don't know where to begin. So I thought, I'm going to go at the back of there and I'm going to start moulding things around that cliff. And I came up with this idea to have like a viewing platform on this cliff, so the guests could get up there by walking up some stairs. They'd have to cross a bridge that was going over a river with a cascading waterfall. And you can see I'm just doing that river now, putting in some rocks, some boulders, fallen log, make it look natural. And this bit here, this is going to be the actual enclosure where the Paraceretherium will be living. And there are some rocks ready-made in this game, just clustered together in nice formations that you can just use. If you're feeling a little bit lazy, maybe, you can just click on them and put them in, and you've got so much freedom. You can, like that log there, you can just tilt the log, make it look like it's balancing on that rock, and here I'm just putting in a few more rocks to make the waterfall look a bit more natural. The waterfall did take some getting used to. It's quite hard to get the grips of the waterfall, but after a bit of practice, I think I do change it later on. I don't think that's how it looks in the final version, but after a while you get the hang of it, and it starts to just become second nature, really. But yes, this is my first build. I thought I'd do the Paraceretherium because it's one of the newest animals that's been put onto the game. And what an incredible animal it is. Fantastic animal, beautiful animal. And basically, this animal is just a giant rhinoceros, but without a horn. And it's basically a rhino trying to be a giraffe, really. It's like a mixture of an elephant, a rhino, and a giraffe. And its name does mean near horn beast. So it nearly got a horn, but no, it didn't need one. It was big enough. It didn't need a horn to protect itself. It's already massive enough. I mean, it's bigger than some dinosaurs. You know, it's a big animal. Just shows you how big mammals can get. And yes, and here I'm just trying to get used to the tree mechanisms. When you click remove all trees, it then puts all the trees on, and you have to select which trees. So you have to click unselect all trees and select which ones you want to put in. Otherwise, when you just use your brush strokes, you'll have every type of tree just going all over the place. And clicking on your density as well will mean how many trees you get. So here I'm just smoothing everything down, making it look like it actually blends from the water, so it's not just a sharp jolt upwards. And also I found out later my my Paraceretherium that's from the Walking with Beasts again. Fantastic show, brilliant show, used to love watching that as a kid. But yes, the Paraceretherium was stuck on the island that I made in the middle there, that little sandy bit. They were stuck on there because, and I was thinking, why aren't they moving? Why aren't they exploring their enclosure? You know, it was because the ground was too sharp of a drop. So there was bits that were uneven. Because when I clicked on the Paraceretherium and put it on the parts of the ground that were uneven, it would say it's not unable to put it here. I was like, oh right, okay. So then I'd smoothen the area, make sure it was nice and smooth, and then it could finally walk in that area and it could explore its enclosure. So yes, that was a learning curve there. I thought, why aren't they moving anywhere? So yeah, here I'm just putting some splashes around to make the river look like it's flowing quite fast. And I've also used rough water there as well. You can choose muddy water, calm water, or rough water. So because it's a stream, it's going to be you know, moving quite fast, so we want to make it look like it's you know, a little bit of a rapid. Yes. And here I was just playing around with buildings, thinking, right, what could go up there? But then I thought, no, I'll come back to that later. I'll put a nice dead tree in here for them to have a good scratch. Oh, no, I didn't. Or did I? I don't know, maybe I'll come back to that. What I'm doing is I'm getting I got the Paraceretherium out there, but didn't actually put it in. I just wanted to put it in the environment to try and get an idea of how big it is, because you don't want to build something and then later on come back and be like, oh, it's completely tiny, this is a bit for this kind of animal, or it's just too huge. So I wanted to get a feel for how big it was. Yes, and here I got a viewing platform, but later on what I do is I get rid of it and try and make my own, because I wanted it to connect to the staircase that will go up towards the viewing platform on the cliff. So yes, it's going to go round in one big loop. So you've got that bridge there, and then on the other side you're going to have a staircase that comes down, and you'll be able to walk around the whole exhibit. So here I'm just putting in like a bit of a riverbank, the smooth area for them to walk out. And yes, just put a few rocks in there to make it look oh, and here's where I had trouble with the rocks, I think. Trying to understand how to make the rocks the same shade, having to copy it across. But some of the rocks here, they do actually look quite nice, even though they're different. Some of them I had like a sandy colour on them, and it did look quite nice, the end result. So yes, I just get a drink of water. Okay, so while we're just going through this speed build, let's have a look at some facts of Paraceretherium. Now, I thought that this animal was the largest mammal to ever walk the earth. However, well, it's suggested, it's not proven, but it is suggested that an extinct straight-tusked elephant called Paleoloxodon, I'd probably butcher that, Paleoloxodon, which lived 700,000 to 50,000 years ago, surpassed Paraceretherium in size and weight up to 22 tons. No way, surely not. 22 tons. My God, that's like I'm sure Diplodocus is about 25 tons, isn't it? Flipping heck, that's massive. And apparently it was 4 meters at the shoulder. That's very big. That's massive. Wow. So maybe this was the second largest mammal to walk the earth, possibly. Or maybe not. Maybe there was something that we've not found yet that was even bigger. Who knows? So yes, you can see here I'm putting in the path that's going to come up to the viewing platform here. And this decking is going to take you round up to the main viewing platform on the cliff up there. So here I'm just trying to make my own viewing gallery. Just trying to get used to the controls of how to use things here. Anyway, let's find some more facts about the Paraceretherium. Okay, so they hang on a second. My microphone is making me echo. Right, so at shoulder height they are 4.8 meters. Wow, and they're 7.4 meters long, and they weigh between 15 to 20 tons. So they're big animals, very big animals, and they lived in Eurasia, so basically Asia and Europe, and they lived around 23 to 34 million years ago, so a very long time. The Oligocene period. Oligocene period. I think I'm saying that right. Anyway, so yes, the enclosure is coming on now. I can see that it is nice and smooth, but still not smooth enough for the Paraceretherium to get out, so I have to go over it again later on. But never mind. And here I'm just putting him in again to get a size. I wanted to see if that fence was tall enough for them. And what I'm doing here is just putting a bit of trying to make my own viewing platform, which is a lot harder than it seems. Trying to get everything lined up is quite difficult. And I've released them now. There they are, walking around, enjoying their habitat, lying through the log. And now I'm putting the fence round. But then I thought, you know what? Later on, I thought it's not big enough for them. I need to make it larger. But once you start building it in, you realise, do you know what? I need to extend this. So yes, we do that later on though. But yes, I'm looking forward to more creatures that would have lived alongside Paraceretherium, because that would be really good to to see those animals, things like hyenodons and entelodonts, basically giant carnivorous pigs. They'd be really cool to put in. And even like make things like documentaries. I'd really be interested in doing stuff like that. The only thing we need in this game is a bit more hunting animation. Once there's some hunting animation, that will be really good. I mean, they've already done some updates. I think swimming is one of the big things they've put in at the moment. Animals can swim, so that'll be really interesting to see. But yes, hunting would be a really good behaviour to see. And that's when you can start. You can do all sorts then. You know, seeing the dinosaurs, and you can make documentaries with them as well. You know, that's going to be really good. And here I am struggling to get the path to connect, because you've really got to make sure that the ground is nice and smooth at a certain angle, or else it will just say unable to place path. And I was like, how do I do this? How do I get this right? But later on I started realizing you really have to make sure it's smooth. So I'm putting a few pebbles here to make it look nice, and a few stones scattered around, and then using this darker sand colour to make it look like where the animals might have trodden a bit more, where they've actually walked, because that would happen where they're walking. It would get a bit more trodden on. It'd be like Zoo Tycoon, trampled terrain. You had to go in and change the terrain, putting in some savanna or something like that. Just putting in a few termite mounds. I don't think they eat from the termite mounds, but I think it just looks cool. I think it just makes it a bit more interesting, the landscape. And here I am copying some stairs to get the guests in to the platform. Very nice. Oh, yes, it's coming along nicely. Nice view there through the glass at the Paraceretherium. And then I thought, you know what? 2 just seems, I don't know, I think we need a few more than 2. So I thought I'd get 4. And then later on I thought, you know what? We'll go for 6. I don't know if these animals lived in herds, because rhinos tend to be more solitary, whereas elephants tend to be in groups. So I don't know. Maybe they did go around in groups. But what I've done here is I've put one male in, like a bull, you know, going around doing his own thing on his own. And I've put in 5 females there, and they're like a herd, a group, which you'd probably see with elephants, but we don't know. I'm not sure if they have found skeletons of these animals together. In fact, I will check that out, actually. Let's see if they did live in it. Right, so it's saying here that they may have lived in small herds, so we don't know. It's just guessing. They're saying they may have lived with, you know, consisting of females and their calves. So it is possible. It's possible that they lived in herds. Oh, and here I'm putting in a shelter for them to get out of that intense heat from the sun, because in this desert it's very warm, and even though they're adapted to the desert, you know, they're going to want to cool off sometimes. So, you know, and look, straight away that one came running over. He's like, oh, a shelter, oh. But yes, what I wanted to do here was have the path come right up to the shelter, so the guests can come over and see the animals chilling out from the sun. And I've put this around here, these fences, just to provide a bit more shade, really. And here, what I wanted to do was have like a little bit of a show. Oh, and there's me putting a tree in, just stretching it. I wanted to put in a show area where the guests could sit down, someone could come up, a member of staff, and talk about the Paraceretherium and just give some facts. And then what I wanted them to do is maybe call people up and say, would you like to feed the animals? And they can come up to the front there, and later on I put some baskets in and stuff, and a fence. And what would be nice if in fact I probably can somewhere, but I didn't do it. Probably find some rope somewhere to put across to stop guests from getting up to there and just feeding the animals by themselves. They'd have to be supervised, of course. We don't want anyone being grabbed by the hand and lifted up by the Paraceretherium. No, we don't want any of that, because we don't want to be sued. So no, what we'll do instead is we'll make sure that the guests only come in when the show is on, and they can come up and feed the animals and get a real sense of how big they are, because they'll be able to get so close to them and get a good look at them. And yeah, I like that idea. I think it's nice. And opposite it, I'm just putting in a nice little restaurant for refreshments. Oh, and here's me putting in the fence now for the feeding station. I was trying to find a table here, I think, but and then some pots, and then I was like, we'll put these baskets in full of food. Lovely. So I've just been looking here at how this animal may have gone extinct, because when you're that big, you think, how do you go extinct? What's happened? I'm just checking out there if he can actually get his head through to be fed by the guests. But yes, it's saying here that because they were so large, they may have had a very long, a slow rate of reproduction. When you think about how long elephants have to invest in their pregnancy. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that could have been a contributing factor, or maybe it was just because they got too big, or maybe it was the climate that just changed and they just couldn't adapt, and more adaptable animals just they just took the place of them. It's mainly elephants now, isn't it? Elephants have really took the place of these creatures, or giraffes, really, you'd probably say. But yes, they are fascinating animals. Very beautiful animals as well, beautiful. And I'm just putting in the railings here. You can see you can just, if the railing doesn't fit, just squeeze it, tilt it, twist it, whichever way you want it. Place it in. Wonderful. We need to make sure the railings are on the side of the stairs so the guests don't fall off. Because we don't want that now. We'd be getting sued again. Lovely. I'm just looking at some more information here. The closest living relatives, I knew they were related to rhinos, but also tapirs. So I didn't realise that tapirs and rhinos are closely related to this animal. It's crazy, isn't it, how everything just evolves into different things, isn't it? It's mad. Crazy. And it's mad how things will evolve very similar as well. Like, you can see that this clearly is a giant giraffe. And giraffes have taken the same body plan in a way. But giraffes, because they're not as big, that's why giraffes have those patterns and the fur on them. But these animals, because they're so large, they wouldn't have had fur on them, so that's why they've got the skin like of an elephant or a rhino. But yes, very, very interesting. So here you can see that I'm putting in some steel beams, and this is just to make the bridges look a little bit more supported rather than just a floating scaffolding in the air. So what I'm doing is I'm just getting some steel beams, putting it underneath, and then just putting in the strongest shape as a triangle. I know that, so I've just tried to make these look like they're supporting it just on an angle like that. But this, I don't know how this would do in real life. It would probably collapse, but it looked convincing on here. I look at that and I think, yes, that looks sturdy. And I think the guests would have confidence in that. So I'm just putting a few more rocks around, just for the steel beams to be connected into. Yes, and a few more beams here to make the platform look like it's supported well. Yes. I'll tell you what though, some of the builds on here, mad what people can make. It's incredible. So just put those in there nicely. And then I think I'm looking for a bit of decoration here. Yes, some bit of overgrown greenery to make it just fit in a bit more, make it look a bit more natural. Lovely. And the next thing that I want to do, putting in some TVs there for some information. Yes, at the side of this, I wanted to put in an archway of rocks where you could peer through some glass as if you were almost walking into the enclosure. And a few signs there just with information on telling you about these fascinating animals. A few benches, need some bins to make sure the litter is kept, keep the zoo tidy. And a few more viewing platforms over there. And then we've deleted the path. I thought, you know what, it still could be bigger. So I thought, here, I'm going to extend it a bit more. But I want you to be able to walk up. Here's the archway now I'm putting in. So here I'm going to put some glass across. But I wanted it to be one plane of glass. I didn't want it to have a line in the middle. So I thought, right, I'll just extend the rocks at the side to make it just flow a bit better, so the glass completely goes across one way, if that makes sense. Yeah, so you can't really see the edges sticking out. It's just one plane of glass going across, and you can just peer through and see them walking past. Yes, I think what I need to do is plan my exhibits in future rather than just making it up as I go. Like, I had an idea, but then I was like, oh, do you know what, I'll do this. Oh, actually, no, I'll do that instead. And then as I've gone through it, I've changed my mind so many times. I've recorded this and then been like, oh, some of that's going to change in a bit. But I do like the end result, though. The end result I am happy with. So here I was just trying to get used to the path. So you've got to make sure that it's smooth enough, that the angle isn't too much. Otherwise, the path won't be able to... you won't be able to place it. It'll just say invalid. You can't do it. I'm like, God. So yes, I'm just putting in a few more rocks here to make it look more like a cliff or something that you're walking up. And yes, and what I want to do here through this glass panel was to make a little dust bath. So the Paraceretherium can, dust off, throw the dust on their body, roll around in the dust to cool off. They might get in the river, get wet, and then roll around so the dust sticks on them, act as a sunscreen or protection. But then I thought, you know what, I'll give them another option as well. What I could do is give them a nice mud bath over here in this corner. That's what I was planning to do here. And you can use muddy water, is what I do, and then you can go on the swamp habitat and make a bit of mud around it. And that must be nice for them, because on a hot day in the desert, there's nothing like having a nice mud bath to cool off. And they've got an option now. They have the mud bath, the shelter to cool off, the dust bath, and if they really want, they can just stand in the river and just cool off, or even get underneath the waterfall and have a nice shower. So here's the mud pit now. I think I wasn't using muddy water there actually. Oh yes, I think I've changed it soon, I think. Yes, and just put a nice bit of mud around there. Lovely. Nice mud pit to roll around in and cool off in the hot desert sun. Put a few nice logs around, a dead tree, so they can have a nice good old scratch. And look, straight away, one is coming over. He's come to investigate. Blend it in with a bit of rock terrain. Add in a few more rocks here. Lovely stuff. And then put a few, because here there would be quite a bit of vegetation because it's near a mud pit, so they're going to get plenty of water there, so I wanted to put plenty of vegetation around. Lovely. Yeah, it's turning into quite a big exhibit, this. But they are big animals and they need the space, so let me know if you think it should be bigger. I mean, it probably could be. You can't make it too big, really. In fact, what would probably be best, if you actually brought these animals back to life, would be, rather than a zoo, it would be a safari park. In fact, that's what I might make next, actually. I might do a big, massive safari park and just have a path going through and pretend that's a road. Build some kind of, I don't know, some kind of area where you can get into the cars, little queuing area, and then you can get in your Jeep and off you go. Just drive through the desert and see the wildlife that you would have seen back in the day, the big megafauna that ruled the planet. And I'm just putting in some nice flat rocks there just to blend it in a little bit. God, I did use a lot of rocks, didn't I? Flippin' heck. But I do like the use of rocks in this game. You can just change the landscape. It's you know, you can make them bigger, smaller, change the shape, and it just makes, you can make more of the environment rather than just an empty plain with just a few rocks. Just and you don't get a you know, oh, this rock is too close to the other rock, you can't put that in. No, you can just put it right on top of it, put it right next to it, put it through it. There are no limitations. Well, obviously there are some limitations, but you can, you know, you get what I mean. There's a lot of freedom and flexibility in this game. So yes, I think we're nearly at the end of the exhibit, or getting there anyway. Or are we? No, I think we've got quite a while left, but yes, I'm just trying to make everything blend in now. I've got the main structure of the habitat. It's just getting everything to blend in. Yes, I just thought I want to put in some kind of rocks that stand out over here so it doesn't look all the same. And this bit I like because you can like peer through this little gap here between the rocks and just, you know, spy on the animals. You know, they don't know you're there, they don't know you're watching, they'll just behave like they would do in the wild. Wonderful. I'll put a few more flat rocks in here. God, I am using a lot of rocks, aren't I? Flippin' heck. And I think I was playing this, I think it was for 9 hours, I think. Something like that. I didn't realise that's how long it was at the time. I didn't do it all in one go. I did it in several days spread out. But yeah, you do lose track of time when you're playing this game. It's quite relaxing. You just get lost in building the habitat. Right, so here I am making an overhanging ledge over the cliff for the guests to get a good look at the whole exhibit, get a good view, put some binoculars in there and a bit of a decoration. And I had so much trouble here trying to curve the path because there's a steep cliff at the end, so I had to try and smoothen this down. The best thing if you're going to do this is to delete the fence, delete the path, delete everything, and just make it all nice and smooth. Try and curve it flat where you want the exact path, and then you can, that's what I'm doing there now, and then put the path in where you want it. And this just, there we go. Was I happy with that? I think I was. And smooth it all down. Lovely stuff. So here we have, oh, my microphone is making me echo. Sounds quite nice, that. Does that add to the ambiance of the magical desert? Oh God, let me stop this. I can't talk like this. I sound like a maniac. Right, that's better. I sound like I've lost my mind there in the desert. This is what the desert does to you when you spend too long in it. You lose your mind. So yes, I'm just finishing off of the staircase going up to the platform on the cliff, the nice viewing platform. So yes, we're just having this spiral round, this big rock, nice spiral staircase, plenty of steps for you, for the guests. If you want that view, you have to earn it. You have to get your steps in. You'll be absolutely knackered when you get to the top, but there are refreshments, don't worry. Yes, there is no gym at this theme park, just lots of walking and steps. Maybe we should give the option of a safari drive, maybe, so you can actually have one day you can do a lot of walking, the next day you can just rest and sit in the car and just look out the window and view the animals from there. But yes, I am quite pleased with this build. Happy with where it's gone for my first one. Just putting in the finishing touches now. Yes, just putting in the railings, making sure no one falls off, no gaps, so no children will fall off the edge. Lovely, lovely stuff. And I hope all you guys enjoyed Project Patagonia. We certainly enjoyed making it. It was a lot of fun. We're just currently writing the script for season 2. Won't tell you where it is. Won't ruin the surprise. But yes, we've got the script is coming on. It's coming together. And then we'll just have to start getting the shots and start editing it and doing the voiceover and everything. So yes, definitely looking forward to releasing that as soon as we're happy with the finished product. So here I'm just extending the exhibit again, just to make it a bit bigger, and so it's not just such a harsh curve going into the exhibit there. Nice smooth curve coming down from the cliff to these little viewing platforms, and then on towards the shelter where the show is. Just making sure it's smooth enough there so I can actually put the path down. we'll just fence all that off now, make it nice and smooth. And here's where I want to put some ground feeders, so they have nice choice of things to do. They can eat off the ground over there, they can go and get fed by the guests, or they can go to the high feeders at the other viewing platform. So yes, just putting in the finishing touches here, and delete that fence. And it's looking a little bit barren there, so I'll put in a few plants to make it look nice. There we go, nice and even. A few cacti in there, a few cactuses, and lovely stuff. Put in a few bushes here by the rocks. Lovely. And then what we'll do is at the top we'll put in a nice bunch of shops, some refreshments, a restaurant, some toilet facilities for the, just putting in the path there where they would have walked, where it's a bit more trampled. So that's what we're going to put at the top, where the guests are going to go. I'll just put that in here. And what I want to do here is have another platform of some sort where the guests can climb up and get a nice view of the waterfall. You know, get a nice family picture there, or a selfie. And just putting the path over there now. Smooth on that edge. Lovely. So, coming close to the end now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use some pre-made buildings that are already on the game, because this build has already took long enough. It's a lot longer than I anticipated. So yeah, and you can do that if you don't feel like building your own building. You can just go into the already made builds and put them in, and you can put that in just as a starter. If you want to add on to that building, or place them together like I've done with some of these. And then what I decide to do is I'm just putting those in for a little bit of decoration, a bit of shade out of the sun for the guests. And at the back there is going to be a restaurant, maybe a shop next to it there on the right, a little shop, little gift stand maybe. Just put the paths in there now. So yes, you can put these buildings in and then just add on to them, which is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to put in a little front bit with some tables and chairs. Add a little hedge around it to make it look nice and pretty, make it look attractive and welcoming to the exhausted guests that have walked many steps to get up here. Lovely. Just smoothing down the back there. So yes, we're coming close to the end of the video now. What I'll do is, because it's already quite a long video, I'm going to split it. So if you want to see the finished product and have a nice tour around the exhibit, I'll leave that. That'll come out tomorrow, and you can, what I'll do is I'll put it, if you're not watching this in the actual time that it's come out, I'll leave it on the right so you can watch it. You can click on the link there if you want to watch it there. I'll just put in a few tables here for the guests to have a sit down, put a nice umbrella in to provide some shade, and then a nice bit of fencing to just corner it off to make it a little bit cozy. Lovely. So yes, let me know what you think in the comments down below. What would you like to see me build next? What species would you like to see on the Extinct Kingdoms channel next? Or any type of themes you would like to see, let me know. So just putting in some decoration here. We pride ourselves in presentation here at the in the desert zoo. Nice bit of gardening here. Our gardeners are the very best. We make sure that our hedges are trimmed to perfection. So just curve them round the side. Adds a bit of colour, a bit of brightness as you come up. It makes it look nice. And the toilet's over here. And then what I'm going to do in this little empty space is just put a rock and a bit of foliage around it and just fence it off, just so it kind of works as if you're in the landscape, you know what I mean? It's not just all buildings up here, and it just breaks it up a bit, I think. So just curve that path around there. Lovely stuff. Put in a few boulders. Lovely. Well, I must say I rather enjoyed this build, and I'm quite happy with this exhibit. A marvellous exhibit for a marvellous animal, if I do say so myself. Put a nice tree there just to provide a bit more shade as the guests are eating, and just put in a few more trees there for a bit of ambiance of the desert. Wonderful. So we're pretty much finished now. Just got to finish off the paths, fence this section off so no kids climb on the rocks. We don't want any injuries. Yes, so we're pretty much done, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like and a comment down below of what you thought, what you'd like to see, any ideas. Please share down below. And if you haven't seen Project Patagonia, at the end of the video I'll put up a link of our Prehistoric Patagonia documentary. So if you want to check that out, I'll leave that on the left. And if you want to see the full tour of the exhibit, I'll leave that on the right. That'll be coming out tomorrow if you're watching this in real time. So once again, guys, thank you very much, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you.